Welcome to whofooadventures. We want to share with you 3 more clips of 3 different speakers from the Sedona VegFest.
The first speaker is Keegan Kuhn. He really inspires me to make YouTube videos to get the message out about health, compassion for the animals, and sustainability for our environment. The next speaker is Brenda Davis. Listen for her story of what convinced her to become vegan.
The last speaker is Colleen Patrick-Goudreau. Her cookbooks were 2 of the first cookbooks I ever had in this journey to become vegan. She also has helped me learn how to garden the vegan way.
Keegan Kuhn was the guy behind the camera and the script for, I think, 3 of the most powerful films of our time. He grew up in a vegetarian family and then became a vegan as an adolescent and then convinced his whole family to become vegan. Keegan is the owner of First Spark Media, which is a film creation company dedicated to making films for social justice. He told me that he started making films because he wanted to figure out a way to have a greater impact on a larger number of people. And when I think about that and I think about his films, I think absolutely he's done it. It's amazing, and I think if we looked worldwide, the number of people who have changed their lives as a result of the work of Keegan Kuhn and Kevin Anderson is just incredible, and he's still doing it. I think it's just such an honor and a pleasure to have Keegan back here in Sedona. Please join me in welcoming Keegan Kuhn.
So for those who haven't seen Cowspiracy, Cowspiracy is a feature-length documentary that my co-director Kip Anderson and I did almost 4 years ago now about the environmental impacts of raising animals for food and the true impacts that we're having on our planet. I'm also the co-director of What the Health, and What the Health has gotten a lot of pushback. There's been a lot of criticism of the film, and just to anybody who's there who has had questions about it, all the studies in What the Health are peer-reviewed. And the same thing happened with Cowspiracy. When we made Cowspiracy, we got a lot of pushback. People said, hey, your numbers aren't right, they're blown out of proportion, they're not accurate. And the truth was that while we made Cowspiracy, we were always looking at the numbers, and there's a big variance in anything you look at, whether it's water use or climate change or desertification, whatever it is, you're going to have varying numbers. And so we always went middle of the road. All the information that I'm going to present in the film and in this presentation are available at cowspiracy.com.
Brenda Davis, registered dietitian, is an internationally acclaimed dietitian and leader in her field. She has worked as a dietitian and nutritionist in research, academia, and the clinical setting. She is the past chair of the Vegetarian Nutrition Dietetic Practice Group of the American Dietetic Association. She's a co-author of 9 vegetarian and vegan nutrition classics with over 750,000 copies in print in over a dozen languages. She's currently working on a diabetes book and a diabetes cookbook, both set to be released this year, so make note of that. For me personally, the comprehensive edition of Becoming Vegan, the complete reference to plant-based nutrition, was the book that transitioned me to veganism. It covers all aspects of plant-based nutrition, including optimal nutrition across the lifespan and guidance for special segments of the population, such as newly nursing mothers and athletes desiring to gain a competitive edge. It is my personal and professional go-to book when I need nutrition information that I know I will understand and that I can practically apply. In 2007, Brenda Davis was inducted into the Vegetarian Hall of Fame. So yes, we have a rock star in our midst. And I am thrilled we have her here with us in Sedona today, all the way from Kelowna, British Columbia. With utmost respect and just a wee bit of awe, I introduce to you Brenda Davis.
I want to tell you, I've been doing this for about 30 years. So this year will be my 40th wedding anniversary. And so my husband and I made this transition together, and we were married in '78 and made the transition in 1989. And right from the very beginning, we were sort of on that path towards a more plant-based diet. And then I had this interaction with a hunter friend of ours who convinced me to become vegan. And you might think, how did that happen? Well, I was trying to make him feel guilty about killing another animal when he was on his way deer hunting. And it was what he said to me that changed the course of my life. He said, you know, just because you don't have the guts to pull the trigger does not mean you're not responsible for the trigger being pulled every time you buy your piece of meat camouflaged in cellophane in the grocery store. He said, at least the animals I eat have had a life. And it was the first time someone had actually forced me to take responsibility for the food that I was buying in the grocery store. And it really changed me. And I remember saying to my husband after I made the decision to remove animal products from my diet, I was the public health nutritionist in our local community. I taught Canada's food guide and 4 food groups and all of that stuff. And I asked my husband if he'd helping to become a vegetarian. And he looked at me and he said, I thought you'd never ask.
I get to help introduce Colleen. She comes from Oakland, California, and we just moved to Sedona a little over a year ago. We used to live in the Bay Area as well. And I used to describe her as one of the best kept secrets in the East Bay. She's written 7 books, and she's no longer a big secret. So I'm going to hand this over to my husband to let him describe some of her accomplishments. We are delighted that she's here and that you get to hear her.
In recent years, she has expanded her message to podcasts. One inspiring podcast is Food for Thought, which was voted favorite podcast by Veg News magazine several years in a row. Last year, she started a new podcast called Animology. She co-founded a political action committee in the East Bay called East Bay Animal PAC. She works with government officials on animal issues in San Francisco Bay Area. She has shared her message of compassion and wellness on numerous national and regional TV and radio programs. She has done interviews published in the Huffington Post and the U.S. News and World Report. She gets her point across, and she's for us. She's for the animals and our planet. Her message is sincere and comical at times. We will always remember her, and we are certain you will too. So will you please give a great round of applause for Colleen Patrick-Goudreau.
So my name is Colleen Patrick-Goudreau, and the mission in my work is to empower people to make informed food choices, to debunk the myths about veganism, to be a voice for animals, and to give people the tools and resources they need to live according to their own values of compassion and wellness. I always say I'm not asking anyone to live according to my values. I'm urging people to live according to their own values. And we see people making changes all the time, reflecting their values, and I'm greatly encouraged by that. Some people are doing it for health reasons. Some people are doing it because they don't want to contribute to violence against animals. Some people are doing it because they don't want to contribute to global depletion. They don't want to contribute to wildlife being killed at the behest of ranchers, which is something our tax dollars pay for through wildlife services. Some people don't want to contribute to the amount of resources it takes to turn living beings into butchered bodies. Some people don't want to contribute to global warming. I always say pick a reason, and any one of them, any single one of them, is justification enough to move toward a plant-based diet. And yet, despite all these reasons, people still struggle. They struggle with making these changes. Mostly, my opinion, is because change is just hard for people. We are creatures of habit, and change is hard. We choose the same things over and over again. We do the same things over and over again. We do this dance with the people in our lives over and over again, and as soon as we decide to change this dance, it kind of throws everybody off. We're doing a tango together, everything's going fine. We decide to do the foxtrot, and everyone's like, I'm sorry, could you come back and just do the tango, because I was fine before you started doing this thing over here. So change just kind of rocks everybody's world, and it can be difficult. And I get that. Everything I do is to try and make this, to demystify all of the things that throw people off when they consider making these changes. One of the things that a lot of people say is, you know, I get it, I could give up everything, but I could never give up X. And the X is usually cheese, right? The X is usually cheese. So I could give up everything, but I could never give up cheese. So many people say this. And I say to them, well, what are you eating now? And they say, what, cheese? Everything. And I said, well, you said you could give up everything, but you couldn't give up cheese, so give up everything except cheese. Start somewhere. But to do nothing at all because you think you have to do everything makes absolutely no sense. It's completely self-defeatist.
This concludes our Sedona 2018 VegFest video series.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to click like and subscribe for more whofoo content. Until next time, do